Let's go. Are we live?
Yeah, we're live-ish.
We're live-ish.
Hello.
Woo!
Hello.
That was a
Hello.
fancy intro.
Hello.
I'm a bit deaf now. The music is loud.
Thanks to
Welcome
music assistant.
everyone to the Home Assistant Release Party 2024.9, which means that it's September, which means that we've already done 9 releases, 3 more releases to go this year. This one is a good release, not the biggest one we've ever made, but I think that's good because it shows that a lot of us are taking a well-deserved break, including myself. I just came back this Tuesday again. Let's do a quick intro round for people that are hopping on for the first time, and then let's get going with the awesome release. My name is Paulo Schoutsen. I'm the founder of Home Assistant.
Hi, I'm Madalena. I'm the lead of the product and design team at Nabukasa.
Hello, my name is Jelo. I'm the product manager of Home Assistant, working on the same team as Madalena. There is some noise coming from one of your microphones. I don't know which one.
Hi, I'm Marcel van der Veld. I work mainly on Matter, but I'm also known for my work on Music Assistant as a side project and a few other core contributions.
Hello, I'm Paul. I'm working as a front-end developer for Nabukasa, and I also maintain Mushroom Custom Cat.
Nice. Good. So, where shall we start today?
Should we dive right into the release notes, or do we have any announcements that we want to go through first?
Well, it is going to be our birthday month, and we are planning a birthday stream on September 17. We'll be turning 11. It's pretty good. We don't have any surprise announcements, so it's still going to be a cool stream. And we're going to talk a lot about community, talk about like different aspects of the community, explore the kind of stuff we've been doing. So definitely tune in. Announcements will drop in a couple of days probably.
Yeah.
But yeah, 11 years old, which is kind of wild because, I know it's a long time, and we're still around, we're still kicking, and so that's good.
It's a celebration of community, and everyone who's tuning in right now, right? Without you, Home Assistant wouldn't have been possible.
No,
which I guess we can show this very fancy diagram. Can we show this very fancy diagram?
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Great job. So, Paul, you want to talk about this one?
I mean, now that we are talking about the community, of course, we couldn't be here, we couldn't be building Home Assistant without the support of the community. As you know, like 6 years ago, I started Nabukasa. Nabukasa exists to support the development of Home Assistant. Home Assistant is nowadays owned by the Open Home Foundation, a foundation based in Switzerland. And everything we do is to build out stuff for our users. There are no investors involved. We control our own destiny. And our destiny is to build the best independent smart home platform that anyone can enjoy. Now, the best way to support us is to subscribe to Home Assistant Cloud by Nabukasa. It does a lot of things for you that you can do yourself in Home Assistant, but it requires a lot of technical know-how. Home Assistant Cloud solves it all, including remote connection. It's end-to-end encrypted. We do not see your data. No one else but you sees your data. Integration with Google and Amazon. And of course, the best experience with the mobile apps and our own voice assistant. So definitely check it out if you want to support the project. It helps our work.
Yeah.
And on top of that, if you do want to join us,
Oh,
we
that's
actually
fun.
have 2 open positions. One is being a cloud and infrastructure engineer, preferably based in Canada or
It
that
shows
time
Florida.
zone. We're looking for some help with spreading out the time that people work on Home Assistant Cloud or are able to fix things. We are also looking for a product manager. Marlene, you want to talk a bit about product manager?
Oh, yes. So, product manager. So, as you know, we have a vision of what Home Assistant wants to be, right? We want Home Assistant to be the best smart home platform that is embracing our open home values, which is privacy, choice, and sustainability, powered by our community. So the job of the product manager is to create the strategies to help us get to that future and turn that into reality. So they will help us manage the product roadmap together. Will help us like work on different product like areas such as like the Home Assistant Cloud or ESP Home or like some future super special projects, and to help with like getting the team together, like getting the developers and designers to work together, to help to work with the researchers to figure out like what can we discover about our users, coming up with ideas, and like making sure that this product will ship to everyone in like a great state, like great quality. So we are looking for that person, and we're looking for the person ideally to be a Home Assistant user. So yeah, like if you have product management experience, you're looking for an awesome job that can power 1 million homes across the world, this is the job that you want to apply to.
Yes,
Yeah.
definitely.
And you'll work with cool people like us, like Paulus, like JLo, like like me.
Yeah.
So that's the product manager job.
Good. There are 2 other roles actually there, both Android and product manager. They've been open for a while. They should hopefully soon be filled. Who knows? There's a very important question for you, Marcel. James's wife would like to know why you don't have an emoji in your name.
I am the emoji, right?
Okay.
Just
That's
my
good.
picture. I have no idea. I forgot. And now I see you all have an emoji now. Now I'm the weird guy without an emoji. Nah.
Yeah.
Fixed. Done.
There you go. Perfect.
Cool.
Yes. Because yeah. Before we dive into the release notes, I actually saw this question. With Alexa going to some kind of subscription, when might we see Assist hardware? Pretty soon. We have actively working on it. It's they're gonna show a secret. Now it's we're making really
See ya.
good progress. It's gonna be
He was a
there
magician.
sometime this year still. We're planning to release it. We've of course been working on this for 2 years now, building all the different aspects of a voice assistant into a Home Assistant, making it more mature, stabilizing it. It will be awesome. So stay tuned for more updates about this later, but we don't have too much to share today because we don't want to spoil all the
For me, I just want to share my feeling without any spoil. This is what I said to Mike and Kevin. We are working super hard on the new voice device, and like we usually work in increments. Like we are iterating on things. But I have the feeling that this voice device is not even like an increment of over the next best thing. Which is the S3 box. It's like another level. Like there is so much things that we are doing with this new device that we were completely unable to do with this, and it's great. It's just an amazing device. Compared to that, it's an amazing device, and this one was already pretty popular, I would say. So I'm very pumped.
Yeah.
Yep.
Somebody's asking, do you plan to make the hardware to be open source? Yes. We're working on building a voice assistant ecosystem, right? Like we want there to be many different voice assistants. The hardware we're building is really the best possible hardware that's possible today, but there are many form factors, different approaches to solving the same problem. We definitely don't want to gatekeep that you have to buy our box. As long as you get a privacy focused voice assistant, we're happy. And of
Hardware
course,
and
all based
software.
on ESP Home, right? So it's already like all the software will be open source. Anyway,
It's already if you know where to look for.
it's good.
We already have followers on the repo for the device. So
Yeah, we're working hard on the firmware, right? It's on, yeah. And we're done with the packaging. We're doing some, cool printing stuff for the packaging, and yeah, the industrial design is also done. We're getting, very exciting.
and that's what we are not going to share. We're not going to share
Instead,
how.
Not gonna show that.
let's talk about the big feature in this release, which is sections. And I don't know, Paul, Malena, who wants to go first?
I'll go first, and then followed by Paul. Let's do that.
I will restart my stream for the microphone issue.
Ta-da. Oh, well, welcome back to my demo dashboard. Oh, so, well, as you can see, now I put up a new chart here, which is all the climate temperature sensors that is linked to my Philips Hue integration, so you can see the temperature changes throughout the day. It's been particularly cool during mid-August, by the way, and now we're getting it back a little warmer again. But the chart is pretty small, and right now sections you can only have for this screen you can put 3 sections side by side, and that's about it. But what if I actually want to see more details on this chart? There was no way to do it, but now finally there's one way: is I can make it bigger, which is what all product managers like to tell designers to do. Make it bigger. So now sections can occupy more than its current width. It can be twice its own width, or like 3 times, or even 4 times its width. So by adding the section, you can now have a slider. You can change the width to 2. Now you have a wider section. Cool, right? So are we done? Well, the chart is still pretty small, so then we need to resize it bigger. But how can we make sure that this works for both desktop and on my phone, right? So on desktop, this is side by side, but on my tablet, on my phone, right, when there's only one column, we need to make sure that the chart still fit if we make it wider. So we added a new way, which is to make sure that the chart always go to the full width of the section. So let me see. If you click Edit on a chart and go to Layout. Now, beside the fact that you can actually change it wider within the section like this, which is cool. Nice. You can also have the option to just have it automatically take up the full width of the sections, whatever the size of the sections is. So now it will go. So now you can get the full fidelity of the entire chart. Like you can see the time series a lot clearer. And even if it doesn't have enough space, right, when there's only one column wide, it will automatically resize it so that it occupies only the space that is available. So it will resize properly. So now it's taking 2 columns, and now it's taking 3 sections with next to each other. So far so good, right? Really so one thing that you might notice is as I resize this a little smaller, when there's only you can put 2 sections side by side. Well, because of the way the sections are laid out, is that we want to make sure that the orders of the sections are predictable. So it's always, you can see that it's always from left to right, and then from top to bottom. So weather, indoor climate, living room, climate, and bedroom, right? So these is in a Z order 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What this does is that it's predictable. So for example, when on mobile, the orders remain the same. So you have weather 1, 2, which is indoor climate, living room, climate, and bedroom. So the orders remains the same. And when you can only put 2 sections side by side, this is the problem, right? So you have this section, which is now occupies the width of 2 sections. So 1, 2, right, 3, 4. As we still want to preserve the order of the sections, we have to leave this space blank for that reason. So for some people, this is desirable because the orders remain the same. But for some people, they might like to have all the space to not be wasted on the screen. So we added another option, which is called a dense section placement. What this does is that when there are spaces left that is empty, and if we know that there are other sections that are narrow enough that can fit into the space in the gap here at the top, it will try to fill it. So for example, this gap here is like 1 section wide, and the next 1 section wide section is this living room section. So what it would do is to move living room section into this space to fill it up. So let's take a look at it. So if I turn this option on, yep, that's exactly what it will do. So now the screen will remain like filled with sections at all time with like not a lot of big gaps between them. Of course, then the disadvantage of that is that the order is less predictable because instead of indoor climate being followed right after weather, now living room is right there. But it looks more neat, so it's
you
your choice.
relive a bit of the old masonry experience like this.
Exactly. Another thing is like when a section is like wider than normal, right? When it's twice its width, when it's collapsed into spaces that it cannot fit it, the cards within the section also go in a Z shape. So from left to right, from top to bottom. So the 4 cards here will go at the top with the chart. And when it's narrower, you can see that the 4 cards go in this order, and it just still remains the same. So the design of this section has always been to make it as easy as possible for like any users to create their dashboard without really worrying about different screen sizes and making sure everything fits, while at the same time delivering a good user experience for all of them. So yeah, being able to resize sections, yet another problem solved. So we are moving towards really ending the experimentation and making it the default of Home Assistant. And that's something coming soon, but we're still adding a few more things before we do that.
Now, this is super good because just sections in the end felt like a bit limiting, right? Like sometimes you just have data like this graph, like you need to have it bigger. And so this really allows people to build out their dashboard exactly the way they want to.
Madalena, can you talk about the space that we see between the weather and the living room? Because I guess that's going to be a question eventually.
So one thing that we do is that this is still different from what is like masonry, which is well, I actually don't really have an example, but I guess you can see this. Masonry is always like filling up whatever space it can find. So that like things might not be aligned horizontally, but it would just fill everything up. But the reason that we don't do that for sections is that, for example, if we move living room higher to fill up this space, what happens is that the order will become less predictable. Like it's harder to figure out to find like where the living room panel is if they're not like aligned with each other horizontally. So for this particular design, this is the compromise. And my recommendation is to keep most of the sections like around the same height if possible. With that said, if you're really meticulous about the layout, we do have a YAML option for you. Has that been merged yet, by the way, Paul? Just want to make sure.
I can show the demo if you want.
Yes, let's do that.
I think before that, maybe a standard recommendation, or at least for me, when I'm building dashboard, is to have sections that have relatively the same size.
Yeah.
Right. I think that's the simplest one. Sometimes I create dashboard. I have a section that is too big, and it's a bit weird when you have sections next to it because you have like wide gaps. Usually there is a way to split it or to fill other sections. I always find that sections with relatively same number of cards are more pleasing to the eyes. Yeah, so I think that's like just a standard recommendation, I would say. Like what Madeleine is showing right now, like all sections have more or less 3 lines, 4
Yeah.
lines. There is a bit of gaps. Everything is quite understandable. I have some sections where like a very big section next to very small sections, and that's kind of the limitation of the sections view. But it's wanted, right? This is what we wanted to do because we optimize for predictability, right? So that was the compromise, more or less.
Yeah.
Great. Yes, definitely. Yeah, that's the recommendation. In future, yeah, we definitely want to, like when we have the default dashboard, we definitely want to keep all the sections around the same amount of information, which means that they're around the same height. All right, demo time for Paul.
Yeah.
Let me share your screen.
Yeah, perfect. So this is basically the example Magdalena showed just before. So when we can change the width of the section here, but it's also a YAML option. Like we have a column span 2. Okay, you can put any number you want in this instead of using the UI if you want. If you are a YAML person. But you can also customize the number of rows it will take. The default is 1, and we will not put it in the UI for now because it can be very unpredictable if you want to do this. But if I put 2, basically this map will be a 2x2 section, and here we can have 2 sections side by side. So basically we can fill this gap using this. And if you put 3, you will see we have a 3 section. Yeah, we'll have 1, 2, 3, and this section is considered as a 3 section 8. Yeah.
And now you need to increase the size of the map inside, right? To be able to.
Yeah, you have to increase it if you want. Yeah. So you have to take care. If you do that, you have to take care of the dimension of every component in your dashboard. But if you have a wall tablet and you want to customize it and you want to fill every gap, basically you can. Yeah.
So you might wonder why this is a YAML option instead of a UI option. In general, in the design of the dashboard, we kind of have 2 personas. We actually made some personas recently for automations, but it does apply to dashboard as well. Essentially, there are 2 main types of people. One is the pragmatist, and the other is the tinkerer. So for pragmatists, they really just want the dashboard to be working, to be displaying what they want, to be able to control the devices they want. They don't want to really mess with too much of the layouts and all that, like details and themes and etc. And that's the primary type of users that we're targeting for the sections view. But at the same time, we want to make sure that we also cater to the needs of our power users as well, like the tinkerers in this case, which are the designers who really want to customize every single part of their dashboard. And to do so, we don't want to clutter up the UI too much for our target audience. But at the same time, we will still want to give the power to our users to edit the dashboard. So for now, like those options are YAML only.
Even if it's not super important, what you are describing is the perfectionist, the one that wants everything perfect. The tinkerer is another persona that experiments with everything and breaks everything in his house.
You're right.
So the tinkerer is the one that has like 2 soldering irons on his desk and is always like tinkering with everything and is always broken and is happy about it. The perfectionist is the one that wants everything pixel perfect.
And yeah, for perfectionists, we also have a new feature for badges too. I mean, thanks to everyone's feedback, we definitely try to do the best we can to like make sure everyone's needs are met. So in the last version, like these are the badges at the top, as you can see.
Can you zoom in a little? Oh yeah.
Yes. So they have the icon, text, and everything. Like you can customize it, but it's only limited to certain combinations. In this version, we added the ability to save more space, essentially, by having the option to choose what is displayed. So now you can choose to not display the icon. So now it becomes narrower if you want to like save up more space for this top row area. So there's this. You can actually turn off even more things if you want, but that
Yeah, I love the fact that you can turn off everything.
yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's useful sometimes because like if you want to use that as a tab button for like going to a different page, maybe you want that to be just empty. But yeah, this is preferable too. So now it just says update available. With that said, since this release we have a resizable section, you can also do one other thing, which like a cooking show, I have it prepared at the bottom, which is this. So you can actually now make a section that's as wide as the page itself. So, for example, like this. So, we know that there are people who like remember badges where the location is on the page. So, for example, if you remember the living room badges, the second one from the left, now you can do it by making a section that is essentially as wide as a dashboard itself, right? So instead of one section wide, you can make it 3 sections wide. And with that, no matter how you resize a dashboard, these like tile card, which looks like the old badges, are still visible at the very top of the screen.
There is a lot of use case about like full screen, full width sections. I made like a navigation. I had like a navigation section on one of my dashboard, like a system dashboard, and now it's always on the top, always taking the whole size of the dashboard. It's actually nice. This
looks very nice. Yeah, it's like the new badges essentially, the super new badges.
Yeah, no, this is going to be a very powerful feature, and I think we're going to see a lot of cool dashboards popping up on Reddit forums, wherever people, please share your dashboard. Because we want to see all the cool stuff you built with this.
In case if people don't know what this card is, this is actually the tile card, but with the vertical option turned on. So there you go.
Nice.
Do we have more demo, by the way, Paul? I'm just wondering.
For demo, I think that's it.
All right.
Yeah.
No CSV download this time.
No, unfortunately.
Because you were on vacation.
Yeah, because I was on vacation. That's true.
Yeah. Well, we need more CSV.
Yeah.
But yeah, it started to look really, really nice now. So really looking forward to like more improvements in the coming months.
Yeah.
Oh, this is nice actually. Nice use case. This is nice for a full screen conditional doorbell camera card. I like that. You put a full screen section with the camera and you just make it visible only when it rings. And so like your whole dashboard shifts down when it rings. It's nice.
Yeah, we can't wait to see what creative solution.
Actually, that's my main question. It's like, how do you use these new features? Because I'm kind of like, now I'm formatted to the sections, and you gave me something, Madalena, I don't know how to use it. Like, I have no section that are 2 column wide because I don't know how to use it for now.
I think it's mainly data visualization, maps, these kind of things are going to be very powerful for it. But I think also if you would have a floor plan, it could be very nice. Right?
Yeah. I
If
like
you
the
have
map,
your floor
the
plan
map
with your
of my
energy.
If you want to show your car as a diagram.
Oh yeah.
No. Okay, yeah. I should experiment.
Photo album.
Yeah. It's interesting.
Yeah. Your Tamagotchi card.
Ta-da.
Good. Hey, let's talk about Works with Home Assistant for a bit, because we made 2 announcements. One is that we're redesigning the Works with Home Assistant program, and the second is that Aqara is joining. Before we talk about Aqara, I want to talk about the changes we made to Works with Home Assistant and why we've changed it. So just to start from the beginning, Works with Home Assistant is our program for manufacturers to establish a relationship with Home Assistant, and they have to satisfy certain requirements. But once those are met, we put our stamp of approval, the Works with Home Assistant badge, and it means that users, all of you, can safely buy these devices, and that we make sure that like we've validated the technology that is powering these devices, and that these devices should work for a long time. So of course chips can break, etc. But we look at, for example, is it using an open standard? Does it have a local API? These kind of things are very important. We do not allow, for example, cloud devices in it at all, because we cannot promise to you that a cloud device in 10 years will work. But if you get like a home visit P1 meter, you get an ultra-log Z-Wave lock, or maybe an Aqara motion sensor, then yes, in 10 years, you should still be able to set this up. It should still work with Home Assistant. And so this program it's pretty serious, as in we get test devices, we get a contact to the engineering team where we can escalate bugs when things go bad. We validate that these devices work. Marcel will do like Matter validation, Nikita will do Zigbee validation, Dominique will do Z-Wave validation. We really look into like, hey, the clusters that are being reported, are those correct, right? Like, are the data points that the device provides. Now,
Like-
yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean, it might look really simple, that it's just like slapping a label on the packaging, but there's a lot of work involved behind the scenes to make this happen.
Yeah, no, definitely. And besides like all this work, like we used to kind of just approve like a whole brand as a whole, so saying like all of ultra-log or these kind of things, and we realized that, well, devices get better manufacturers get better at making better devices over time. And by only approving their whole brand line, we would only ever be able to accept devices from manufacturers that did everything correct from day one. And instead, we were like, oh, but if that one has a bug, we can give the whole brand approval. So we decided to switch it around and start doing approval per device. So today, this program now runs actually also under the Open Home Foundation, and under this new program, which is device only, Aqara is the first partner that is going through the new certification, and they have certified 4 devices. 3 are Matter devices, and 1 is also a Matter device, but it's a Matter hub, which can expose other devices, which is really cool. I'm super stoked about this. This is like a big step for us. I know Aqara is very popular in our community, mainly for other devices, by the way, but like we got to start somewhere. This is a really good step. Marcel, you've tested these devices, right?
Yeah, I tested the device mentioned in the blog as well. I tested a few, and I actually own a few of these devices in my home already, because like I'm trying out Meta stuff. Paul's holding the lock. But like I was already familiar with Aqara from the Zigbee device. I think most of our community members are. So we were really thrilled to hear about Aqara, wanted to join the program. But we tested all these devices really from a Matter perspective. So this morning we had an interesting conversation, like for some Matter devices, not the Aqara ones, but some Matter devices require you to first set up the app from the manufacturer, which requires a cloud account or whatever, and then you can opt in for Matter. So that one will not pass our certification, for example, because like this is not a Matter device, because a Matter device should be local only. And then maybe have a secondary step to also enable extra features or whatever in a cloud app, but its primary features should work over Matter. So that's how we approach the current device as well, like scan the QR code over Matter, so purely over Home Assistant, and then they worked. Yes, they could use a couple of extra features, but that's not entirely to blame for Aqara, because Matter is a bit immature yet. For example, the lock, it locks.
Hey,
and
don't downplay Matter.
Nah. Well, but there's a lot of potential, and I think the really exciting thing is that we now have direct contacts with the Aqara. So we were talking back and forth about like, let's do the next step and let's make updates possible. Let's see if we can do a bit more. Let's see like if there is a lot of questions about from our community, like, can we do log management, log code management? Let's work together with the Aqara to make that happen over Matter, so it will be possible for the Home Assistant community. So I think there's a lot to win, and besides that, the devices work great. They're excellent quality, and yeah, what I've seen from them with a couple of weeks testing, it's amazing. Yeah.
Good. Yeah. Now there's going to be some extra partners coming soon as well. We're talking to
I-
a lot of
I
people.
can maybe spoil the beans already a bit because my whole office is full of devices, so I can already like predict there's a few more coming.
Yeah.
But like this, Aqara was the first one after we changed the program to pass
Yeah.
the certification, but there's a lot more coming.
What is nice is that with Matter, it has a lot of companies are making nowadays Matter devices more. I feel than that used to look into Z-Wave or Zigbee, and it's in a way we're just getting more approach because Home Assistant is a big Matter controller, and people want to make sure that their devices work well with Home Assistant. So seeing the certification grow, it's really really awesome.
Yeah.
The Aqara devices that are joining are all based on Matter over Thread, correct?
Yeah, that's maybe worthwhile to mention. Yeah,
And the
Aqara
hub.
doesn't make any Wi-Fi based devices. There are only thread-based devices, so it means there's one like hurdle to take. Like you need a thread network, which is not yeah, it's not like super friendly to set up yet. I think we as Home Assistant can do a better job to set it up. We as Home Assistant can do a better job to guide you, but we're the most flexible. So if you're a bit technical and you want to read documentation, if you follow our documentation to the letter, I think you have a great time with us because we understand, like you can even use thread-based Matter devices over an Apple border router or a Google border router. So, but yeah, it needs a bit of tinkering to set up, and I hope like the next couple of months we can make that part easier. Also depends on the thread group itself. Like the thread implementation needs the next step.
Yeah, I'm hearing some echo, by the way.
Yeah, me as well.
Maybe it's me. Sorry.
But Marcel, you're saying it's a bit of tinkering. If you want to get started with Thread in Home Assistant, you could get one of our USB sticks, right? The Home Assistant Connect CBT1.
Yeah.
You plug it into Home Assistant, it guides you into setting up a thread network. You then do have to get these credentials into your iPhone or Android phone, which is the tricky part. So
yeah, we spend a lot of time improving that flow. Right now, if you run Home Assistant OS, like our full Home Assistant OS on a green or a yellow or your own hardware, then if you plug in the ZBT1, like the Sky Connect stick, it pops up a question: do you want to use this stick for Zigbee or Thread? So that's one huge step we took to make this easier. But then there's also the challenge of getting those credentials to your phone. And that's the next step we're iterating on now, like making that a bit easier.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, Aqara devices are thread-based devices. So on the one hand, I have a small warning, like this takes you a little step more to set up. But on the other hand, this is like a really reliable protocol. Like Thread is a really reliable protocol, also for battery life. So you can do 2 years with a single battery, small battery. It's reliable because it will use multiple access points in your home to guide the traffic. So once you have it set up, I think you have a good time with Thread. But like, yeah.
But this will get better over time. I think that
Yeah.
like in a year or two, Thread will just be like a no-brainer the way it works. It's a bit, and of course we can only make it as easy as the landscape or the IoT ecosystem allows us to. So we're working closely with the Thread group and in the Matter Alliance together with Google and Apple to really smooth this out and make this as easy as possible.
Yeah. Yeah, I think one other thing to mention is we also certified the hub M3, but only as a Matter bridge, and that one doesn't need Thread itself, but it has a Thread radio inside. So
yeah,
if you're already like on the Aqara ecosystem, you have like these Zigbee sensors, for example, you have the M3 hub, it will bridge the existing Aqara Zigbee sensors and the other sensors because they have like this FP2 like sensor. What is it? It's
they have a huge lineup. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and that's also being bridged through this M3 hub, and then you spare yourself like setting up the thread. Aqara will take care of it for you.
Hey,
we should find back the big diagram that we presented during the State of Matter. If people don't know what is a region.
Sometimes we should do a Matter refresher, definitely.
Yes.
Hey,
Matter
I want Lewis from Everything Smart Home is asking, will Aqara provide Zigbee updates through a Home Assistant for their existing lineups so we can update them without the Aqara hub?
Not yet.
That's an excellent question, and we'll ask them because
Yeah, it's not yet. They're
not yet
working.
for sure.
they-
No, but
They told us they're working with us to make it happen, to make this happen. But now at this time they won't provide any updates, but they're gonna make sure it will happen.
no, yeah, we will as part of the Work with Home Assistant program, every device that is approved should also be able to get updates either to like the Matter, Zigbee, or Z-Wave system. There's Zigbee devices that are not part of our program, but we will nevertheless poke them and see like, hey, if there are updates, let us give it to their users that use Home Assistant, right? So we're on it.
There is one question from Roman, which is Apple device already have Matter. Can it be used as a hub for Home Assistant?
So
It can be used as a border router.
Yeah, so there is a lot of
Yeah.
terminology.
You
in Matter.
basically you can replace the Sky Connect or every USB stick for this. At home I have like 3 HomePod and I'm using them just to connect thread
Yes.
devices. I don't have a stick on my box.
But let's take one step back because there's some confusion in terminology here.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah,
That's what I wanted
Matter and
to,
thread. Yeah.
Correct. So Matter is the application level. So Home Assistant will talk Matter to, for example, a light bulb that can go either over Wi-Fi, which is, okay, we're all connected to Ethernet Wi-Fi to the router, or from a router, it will go through Wi-Fi, it will go over a border router. Now, Home Assistant can become a border router using the ZBT, the Connect ZBT1. Apple and Google can also provide border routers. HomePod Mini, Google Nest, hubs. Now, it is a bit more tricky to get that working across ecosystems, but if you are an iPhone user with a HomePod or an Android user with a Google Nest hub, you can use that to get Home Assistant to talk Matter over thread to these devices, and that should work. Sometimes but
Just
like,
follow our
let's do-
documentation. We have documented this to the
Yeah.
to the points. Like if you
Yeah.
follow the documentation to the point, you will. But you can read this question in two ways. Like an existing device already joined to Apple, can it be used for Home
Also.
Assistant? Maybe I'm reading this from a multi-admin
Oh,
perspective.
that's
That's like
also
a
possible. Yeah.
lot of steps. Yeah.
So, because like what's cool about
Oh.
Matter is that a device can be joined to multiple controllers at the same time, which is really unique. Because you're maybe if you come from a Zigbee or a Z-Wave world, you have like a device that can only be controlled by one controller at a time. So if it's paired to Home Assistant, you cannot use another controller to use it. And Matter is different in that way because it can be controlled by up to 5 controllers at the same time. So especially if you're already paired these devices to Apple and you say like, okay, I'm running Home Assistant side by side, or I'm like experimenting a bit with Home Assistant, you can say, hey, share this device to Home Assistant, and then you get the sharing code from Apple, and then you put it into Home Assistant, and it will be controlled by Home Assistant. And if at some point you kick out Apple, the Home Assistant connection will still work.
Yeah.
So I've read the question in that way, but you can
Yes, me too. Actually, this is what I wanted to say.
Directions.
Do you want to see the big diagram so that we put pictures on the wall or not?
I don't know.
Let's
How
see
much
that
time?
super
How much
big
time do
diagram.
we
I can't
have?
find
Like,
it.
Yeah, let's not dive too deep into Matter. The last time I let you guys talk about Matter, it took you 2.5 hours.
yeah.
Well,
Oh, yeah, that's not, okay.
More than that.
All right, okay.
You
let's go.
wanted to show it, right? You know,
Yeah.
you
Yeah,
have it,
I
like,
want to show
ready.
it.
It's like
Right,
that
right.
crazy meme picture with like the conspiracy theory.
All right.
Good. Hey,
That's some
let's-
X-Files tunes underneath, like the.
Yeah. Hey, let's switch back gears back to the release.
Talk
Because-
about energy.
Are we going to talk about energy? Let's talk about energy. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the next thing on the list.
Does anyone have a nice energy dashboard? There you go.
Yeah, you have one.
Can we enhance?
Make it bigger.
Yeah, is it good? Yeah. I think it's good. So with this release, I will start with the beginning. On your energy dashboard, you can display the energy you have, the total energy you have in your house. Like me, I have peak hour and off peak hour, so it will be displayed like this. And you can have the individual usage for every device you have in your house. And with this release, we have a new option. That's a contribution from Carlos. And now you can have the untracked consumption. Basically, it's a subtraction between the total and all the devices you want. So you can see the amount of energy you don't track in your house. And it's available for every, for a year, I can...
Yeah, this is really nice, right? Because now you see what you're not tracking,
Yep.
which means that, oh, maybe you track most of your big spenders, or in this case, like there's like some small things that are not being tracked.
Yeah, I like this.
It's addictive. Huh? It's
It's
addictive.
it's kind of like doing a balance sheet on accounting. You know the total number, and you try to add everything up to the number, but there's a discrepancy in between. So what did we forget to track, or is the total that too high? All right. So that's something that you can diagnose with this information. So usually, like for people who have discrepancies like this, is when they have like individual sensors at each endpoint, right? So they have like they're tracking at the power outlet, or they're tracking from like the Tesla car charger, for example, on one hand, and then on the other hand, they might have something that is installed on their the electric circuit board, right, in the fuse box in the house, right, with the what's that called, like a clamp thing that you can like
CT clamp.
Yep. So you can measure what the total is from that end, and sometimes people might get the data from the electricity provider too. So if the electricity provider is showing discrepancy between what you track and the total, maybe you can fight the bill. I don't know, but like maybe it's something that you forgot to track as well. So.
Yeah. I see some very nice feature requests here, actually. This one, when will dynamic energy prices be added to the energy dashboard? Now, we do allow you to point at an entity that you're using to track the prices that are currently active, but it indeed would be nice to show a graph of it on the dashboard as well over the period that we're showing, because we have the data. Maybe it would be cool to show it. I actually also like this one. Is there a plan to add outdoor temperature graph? To kind of see if that impacts it. I think we once discussed showing at least the weather summary. Was it cloudy? Was it sunny? Right, like as an icon underneath the graph, but maybe just showing the temperature is also nice.
Yeah, we have some plan to improve the energy dashboard, because for now the energy dashboard is only one view, but on the dashboard you can have multiple views. So the idea is that we can bring multiple view with multiple usage. Maybe you don't want to see the water next to your electricity because it's two different use cases, but it's still energy. So yeah, we are working on it.
That would be nice.
Do we know where we can get, like, is there an API to get energy prices changing?
It depends a bit. Like in the Netherlands, for example, there's Tibber. I think in multiple European countries that it's always known what the energy price is going to be for the next hour, 24 hours in advance. So you know what the price is going to be. And I think the P1 port, does it also report the current price? Marcel,
no, but you can calculate it. So the energy company itself doesn't need an API, but like the prices, you have the cost price, and on top there's a calculation going on, and that differs between the company you choose. Like I have like a certain company, I have dynamic energy as well, and I know what to calculate with. So I can calculate what my price will be because I know the static price you can have. Like there's one European like listing to use for all the energy prices.
Yeah,
so it's possible.
I feel like this needs to be done with like community efforts, since I think it will need a lot of crowdsourcing for data from many different countries and different sources.
I mean, it's just one integration per energy provider, right? So I think we do have Tibber. There's now, at least in the Netherlands, more and more dynamic pricing companies are coming, and so we would just need indeed an integration per provider.
Yeah, and most of them share the same database. Like there's like one really large database, and most of the energy companies just use that. So
Yeah, because they are just brokers in between, right? In the end, they don't influence the price. It's just what the system has provided.
What they want to earn from you, and that's calculated on top of the cost prices.
Yeah.
What I also miss in this energy dashboard, by the way, is the current usage, like
power.
like power. Yeah.
Well, once Paul gets multiple views added, we can consider power. Until now, it's been like, is power and energy are two different things, right? Like there's a time dimension.
I'm creating a custom energy dashboard.
Me too.
Me too.
Yeah.
I have the same custom.
Yeah. But it should, yeah.
Sankey diagram.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes. Now, once we have power, we can add a Sankey. Then it's.
There was one question which I find interesting, because it seems simple, but actually, when you think about all of the case, it's not simple. It's about the price per device. When you think about it, if you have, so on the energy dashboard, you can have multiple sources of energy on the top. Like Paul showed, for example, off-peak and peak. I have the same thing also, off-peak and peak. As long as you have only one source that is used at the same time, then you have only one price. And well, technically, you could just say, I'm going to ventilate the price to all the devices, and I'm going to say that device costs that much. But as soon as you have multiple sources at the same time, for example, solar, let's say that you have like peak power and also solar, and maybe you sell a bit of solar, etc. Then it's becoming a bit complex to give a price per device. If not impossible, technically you could say like this 50 kilowatts this 50 kilowatt hour of energy of solar, it's my Tesla charger that use them, so it's free, even if it doesn't mean anything, because technically it's just electrons, right? And the rest, the peak hour pricing, has been used by my washing machine, so it's still chargeable. So all of these things are a bit complex. So like a device price per device, they work as long as you have only one source of energy at the same time. So if you have peak off peak, it works. If you start to have peak off peak and solar, then and you start to sell solar, for example, then we can do an average. We could say like we just average all of everything.
Hey, before we wrap up energy, can you show the Sankey diagram again?
Yes, I can.
We went. I don't know who was showing it.
Yes, I can. So it's a mess to configure.
We want to add this one to Home Assistant to make it easier. Right now, it's a custom card.
So in a word, the Sankey diagram is just like a bunch of numbers and relationship between these numbers. You find them a lot on publication about, immigration flows between countries and how much, where does the cost of an airplane comes from? Is it the fuel? Is it, these kind of things? And one of the way of using it is power. So, and you can do whatever you want. So in my case, the main bar is the black one, which is like the power that I'm using right now. And then on the left side, I have a, a low...
fossil fuel.
Yes, low carbon power and fossil fuel coming. In France, we have a lot of...
it's very green in where you live.
Yes, in France, we have a lot of nuclear. If you look at the energy dashboard, it's like 96% always.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And then it's floor areas and special equipment. Can I make a demo about something that changes? No, I should charge my car, but it's not plugged.
Oh yeah, sure.
Just turn on your oven.
I'm trying to find if I can turn on something.
I can demo on my dashboard if you want.
No, you have a big one on your side. But the nice thing about the Sankey graph is that you can break them down as you want. So I broke them down by floor, and Madalena broke it down by circuit board.
Yep.
Which is super interesting actually, because that was our need, right?
Yeah.
And so my need was just to know where the power is basically being drawn. Yeah.
So we hope to one day get this into Home Assistant, and because we know your areas, we know your floors, we know the way your grid is configured through the energy dashboard, we should be able to automatically configure the Sankey card.
All right, I'm gonna turn off my AC now and see this change. Oh, yep,
There you go.
Yeah.
nice.
Um,
Yeah, mine is by circuit and plugs and then categories, and yours is by floors, which is
Yes.
interesting how we.
I just posted on the chat the name of the custom component. It's called custom Sankey chart, which is the name of the chart.
Yeah,
And it's a bit painful to configure the first time. There is a lot of things to understand, but once it's configured, it's quite nice.
Yeah. And I have a nice little bridge because the Sankey card is a custom card. Now, the easiest way to install custom things in Home Assistant, integration or cards or themes, the ones that are not part of built into Home Assistant but are provided by the community around Home Assistant, is HACS, the Home Assistant Community Store, which, funnily, the name, everything is free, but it's still called Store. And HACS had a major release, 2.0, and yeah, I think we should, highlight it for a second because HACS is created by Joachim. Joachim, he actually also works for Nabukasa. But for the HACS 2.0 release, we have partnered with him to make HACS is not part of Home Assistant itself. It's a standalone one. I think maybe we should talk actually first about why it's standalone and not built into Home Assistant.
Yep.
It's because Home Assistant allows you to do a lot of stuff, right? There's always a custom way to build stuff. But because Home Assistant has access to a lot of sensitive data, the engine of Home Assistant itself can be disturbed if there's bad programming code. We review all the code that runs inside Home Assistant. Now, if you don't want to wait for our reviews or you think that our rules are too strict, you can still share your contributions with the community, and the easiest way to do that is HACS. So HACS exists. HACS is very popular. There's a lot of cool stuff in HACS, including like the Sankey card we just saw. And this brand new 2.0 update brings a totally revamped UI. There's a modernized UI. So the UI is using also the data tables as we have recently added in the last couple of releases. It also leverages the new update entity, so you can easily see them. But together with your other updates, you can see if there's updates for your cards, for your integrations. It's all very smoothly integrated. It works very nice. And on top of that, the biggest change is actually the backend of HACS, where HACS used to talk to GitHub to see if there were updates. And because as HACS got more popular, it contained more integrations for which it had to check updates. It also had more installations, so more people had HACS installed, which meant that every time we added a new repository to the HACS store, GitHub would receive more calls from every HACS installation worldwide. And so that meant that we had to kind of tone down how many things were being added to HACS over time because GitHub was not very happy with like the amount of API calls we were making. So we added with HACS 2.0, what Joachim built is that there's now all updates are being gathered in a cloud API that we host ourselves on Cloudflare. This means that we are no longer hammering GitHub. GitHub is very happy with us. It also means that we can expand HACS faster in the future. There needs to be some quality control, but there was a backlog. The goal is to go through it soon and be able to get people quicker to share their creations with the community. Now we have to do also, as you can see, people have been showing HACS on the screen. We do have to give a disclaimer. HACS allows you to install things that are not reviewed by us. It means that the quality can wildly differ. Sometimes it's excellent and amazing. Sometimes it contains bugs that crash Home Assistant. And if you are installing custom cards, custom integrations, and you experience the front end not functioning correctly or Home Assistant's not restarting or crashing, please try running without custom cards, custom integrations, because so you can at least pin down, is this a custom integration or is this an actual bug in Home Assistant? that's HACS.
Can we show how to do that? How to run Home Assistant without custom integration? So that at least if you have problems, we can show you.
Sure.
Safe
It's
mode.
pretty easy. You just go to, let me just put it in English, sorry, even if it doesn't change a lot. You go to
Can you
settings,
zoom in a little?
there. Restart, advanced options, restart in safe mode. And then we do not load any custom integration and front-end modules. So if you have a big problem with Home Assistant, and you are a heavy Home Assistant HACS user, that's one thing to test. The front-end cards are going to break your front-end, which is usually okay, but the integration can break much more things, actually.
Yeah. There's a question here from Mark. Do you still have to run a shell script? No, you don't. There's actually an add-on available now that will one-click install the integration for you. So you just have to go to the add-on store. No, is it in the add-on
No,
store?
you have to go to GitHub. It's not listed.
Yeah,
Go to the HACS website.
Yeah.
But there's a link to My Home Assistant, which will guide you through into installation, and then you're all set up and good to go. And then lastly, I want to highlight that HACS is a collaboration partner of the Open Home Foundation, which means that we as Open Home Foundation are supporting HACS to make sure that
I can show the cool animation.
yes. We make sure that they get the support they need to make sure that HACS works well and is up to date. So yeah, definitely if you want to support HACS, support the Open Home Foundation, please subscribe to Home Assistant Cloud by Aqara. Or if you want to support Joachim directly, you can also find the donate link in the HACS about page.
Nice.
Yes, the Open Home Foundation website, which also you can see Music Assistant is there, which is the project Marcel's running. If you want to have, Marcel, you want to just quickly intro Music Assistant for the people that haven't heard about it yet?
Nah, everybody knows about it now.
This is really cool. I was in the Netherlands last week, and I was at the supermarket, and I was browsing through the magazines. And one magazine, the Computer Total, they actually have a tutorial on Music Assistant this month. So like 5-6 pages. How do I install Music Assistant? How do I index my music? How to connect music providers? And how do I get my music to stream on all the different speakers in my house?
Yeah, it's basically like a connection hub to connect all these various music sources, including local files, but most important, like the streaming providers, to the various player targets, because you can have cast devices, AirPlay devices, and there's the magazine.
Nice.
And it will make sure that you can stream your music to your player targets.
There's right there on the cover. Oh my god.
Yeah, it was really cool. And my wife actually went to it. Wasn't in the regular store, so she came home and was like, there's a magazine with Home Assistant or Music Assistant in the store. And my kids got all proud because it was cool. Yeah.
Nice. Cool.
Good. So back to the release.
Yeah.
There's JLO. I think the next feature is yours.
Oh, the real meat of the presentation tonight.
I lost my sharing. Sorry. Yes. The next one is me. You know what? Let's share a bit the release note because we didn't even share them yet. So did we miss anything?
The fully open source, but we can talk about it later.
Section, wider section. We saw that. Full card span, badges, tracking your untracked energy, and the LLM agent option grow. So, right, let's just close the release note for now so that we can talk. We positioned ourselves as a experimentation platform for the smart home. There is a AI blog for that. No, not that big, not that big. Yes, not that big. So we are trying to be the simplest platform for you to experiment with AI. I think experiment is an important word because we don't think that there is a perfect solution for now. LLMs all have their limitations. Whether you want to run them locally, there is a huge limitation, which is you need a pretty powerful machine, and the models are not following well today. If you want to run them on the cloud, there is a privacy concerns, there is cost concerns, and then you have like all of the problematic of like the replies of the LLM that are not coherent over time, hallucination, etc., etc. So this is where we are. We are trying to experiment. We are trying to help you experiment with LLMs as simple as possible. When we launched that, we had OpenAI, so all of the GPT models, and Google AI, so all of the Gemini models. And this release, we are, after that, we integrated Ollama. Ollama is not the same thing, actually. Ollama is like a program that allows you to run LLMs locally. So you can run Mistral, which is made by Mistral. You can run Llama, which is made by Meta, etc. All of them locally. And this comes with a lot of consideration. You need pretty big hardware to be able to do that. In the last demo, Maddalena made some local demos. It was with a very small context, a few entities, took some time, etc. So it's just experimentation. And this release, we are allowing you to test on another cloud provider, which is called Anthropic. Anthropic is, I don't know if it's like one of the big players, but I would say it's kind of the same size as OpenAI. Yeah, I mean, and their model is called Claude. Yeah, their model is called Claude. I will try to give you like a quick rundown of the difference between the three. I will also explain you how we are evaluating the models to make sure that it works, and also why it's still an experimentation phase, because you will see that it's not perfect, right? So Claude is the flagship model of Anthropic. They have 3 versions, as more or less everyone, you know, like GPT has many versions. There is like the big boy, which I'm calling the big boy. Like, look at this. So this one is like way.
Can you zoom in a little, JLo? I don't think it's.
Sorry, you said what?
Can you zoom in a little?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So there are 3 models. I think almost everyone is doing that. There is like a very powerful model for very complex tasks. The smart home is not part of this. It's very slow and it's also very expensive. So this is called Opus.
That's crazy.
There is like a base model, which is the same price more or less than the GPT base model, which is 4.0. So that's Sonnet. And they all have a lightweight, smaller, cheaper model. So in GPT, that would be called 4.0 Mini, this one. In Anthropic, it is called Haiku. So Haiku is the fastest, cost-effective model. And so you can use any of them, more or less. If you want, you can use any of them. The recommended one, the one that comes out of the box, is Haiku. It is integrated the same way as any LLM providers, device integration, ad integration. You look for Anthropic, you pass an API key, and you get a conversation entity that looks like this, right? It's just a conversation entity. You can configure it if you want. You can change the model. The recommended model settings is the small one. If you want to play with it, you can also change to Sonnet or even to Opus if you want, although I do not recommend for your wallet. Yeah. It's really, Opus is crazy. And you can change the prompt if you want, and then you can experiment with LLMs, as we are showing and demoing for a long time. So personally, I didn't test Claude for a long time. It's been like, I don't know, 4 days that I'm trying to test it as much as I can. So I will go to like a quantitative evaluation way that we are trying to evaluate these models, because I think it's interesting. But from a qualitative standpoint, Claude is working well for non-English speakers, which is great. GPT 4.0 Mini is also working well for non-English speakers. Gemini, so the Google one, is falling a bit behind for non-English speakers.
JLo, before we continue, I think, we've talked about, like, we dove straight into Anthropic, but like, people want to see how does a large language model on Home Assistant work? What can you do?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So let me just start by the beginning. I have way too many assistants. I'm sorry about that.
This is wow.
One sec. We need labels.
GLaDOS, Whitney. Wow, are you like aperture science here?
Yes. So let's start by the beginning. We are trying to help you converse with your home. I'm going to make text demos, but I will talk after that about voice because there are some interesting things that are coming in the future of LLMs overall. But what we do is pretty simple. You type a command, we try to understand it, we do an action, and we reply. So if I say turn off the office lights, it's going to turn off the lights in my office. We did that by building a intent parser. So there is a big tree of a lot of sentences created by the community in every language. How do we say turning off a light in an area? How do we say turning off a device, changing the volume, setting the position of a cover, fetching temperatures? And then we try to match the best, and we do it. And this works locally extremely fast. It is designed to work on a Raspberry Pi 4. So the strength of this is speed, local privacy, efficiency. It's super efficient. I am actually still running this as a default in my house. I will explain you why. There is another way of approaching this, which is the LLM way, which is more or less giving this task to a brain that has been trained by a big company like, I don't know, OpenAI, Anthropic. So the voice part is the same. You talk, we translate into text, and then we ask a agent to understand what you tried to say. And this is the main strength is that you can go outside of the structured sentence that we are providing. So if I say like, yo dog, can you turn off the office lights with like some typos, it's going to do it. So that's the main strength, which is the fact that it's much more, you talk in a much more human way. Now turn them back on. They have like something that's
a lot more forgiving in what you give for the voice command.
Yes, it's much more forgiving. So that's the main advantages. The other advantages is that there is a prompt. You can basically ask them to change personality, right? There is a prompt by default, which looks like this, which would be like, you are a voice assistant for Home Assistant, answer questions about the world truthfully, answer in plain text, keep it simple to the point. I will explain you how we are tuning this prompt, because it is also interesting. I want to really like take all of this and put it in the section at the end on how we are evaluating that. But if you want, you can also create agents that have different prompts, like you are GLaDOS, the sarcastic AI from Portal, you manage my house, pack as many references as possible. And now you can have a agent that controls your house, but yet answer as GLaDOS, which is the other advantages. I have the voice tools actually ready, which is not the goal of this, but I have the voice also ready. Well, actually, since it's the tab, can you turn on the office lights?
The office light is already on. If only I could also turn on your enthusiasm for mundane tasks.
So perfect.
This is perfect.
So
Sorry,
before we continue,
yeah.
This speech to text, the what we just saw. So the speech to text here is done by Home Assistant Cloud, right? Turning your French spoken language into text. And then I think you're using 11 Labs or using the
Piper.
Oh, use Piper. Oh yeah, so somebody created a GLaDOS voice for Piper. Piper is the text-to-speech engine that we developed, which is part of the Open Home Foundation, which is a neural network-based text-to-speech engine that runs performantly on Raspberry Pis.
Yeah, exactly. So to come back, there is a lot of options for the brain, right? So you kind of pick whichever you want to test, or you do like me, you test them all. So OpenAI, Google, Anthropic, almost all the same pricing. Google is a bit cheaper, Anthropic is a bit more expensive, and all have different strengths and weaknesses. Cloud and Cloud and OpenAI are a bit better for non-English speakers. I can talk to my house in French without any problem. Gemini falls a bit short. Gemini has very short answers. Like, where is Gemini? Turn off the office lights. Whereas Claude usually has a bit longer answer. It depends, actually. I think it's more the case well, actually, it's not the case. So they all have the strength. You need to check a bit what you want to do. You need to experiment. And this is where we are trying to help you, right? Because we are trying to evaluate this to see if it works. And so the way we are evaluating it is very smart. Before I go there, is there anything else that I want to share on the demo itself? I don't think so.
No, there's some questions, but I'll maybe before you go into there, I think I saw one question, which I kind of want to highlight. Somebody's asking, can we have more control over function calling and tool use to have built amazing capabilities? That is possible. Every API can be fully controlled. So you have to write Python because obviously you're going to have control over function calling and tool use, but you can provide your own API, which then can be applied to any of the LLMs that we have available. So if you want to experiment with a complete different set of tool calls, that is possible. And that's for the way to allow anyone to really dive deep and try to squeeze the most out of the models.
That's for the function calling, which is more like I'm a developer, I have an idea, I want to do it. But for the tools, as a user, you can create your own tools. It's actually not that complex. You create a script. Where are my scripts? Come on, yes. You create a script. It's going to be in French, but it's not going to be complex. I have a script that allows me to control my standing desk. I have two options, either a standing or sitting, and I can run it. And I added a description to this standing desk tool, which is also in French, which is like control the standing desk in my office by giving a position, either seated or standing. And I exposed it. I exposed my script to assist. By doing that, you create a tool. The LLM can tap into this tool when it wants to use it. And I'm going to make a demo, even if it's a stupid idea because I'm in a stream, but can you raise my desk? I'm going to make two commands. The first one is just to show you that it works. There will be a lot of things that are interesting about that because yes, it works. The tool is fully in French. I'm speaking to Claude in English.
Yeah, we can see the camera moving up.
Yes. So like this is the strength of LLMs, right? Like they are fully language agnostic. My tool is in French. The name of the tool is in French. The description is in French. It knows how to use it. Can
you ask GLaDOS to lower your desk?
Yes. Wait. What tool did you use to perform the last command? I never tried that with Claude. Let's see if it works.
Live demo.
Yes, I mean Claude is very new. I know that OpenAI is allowing me to go into analysis mode pretty easily, but Claude seems to be failing.
So like in Westworld, where you like analysis mode, and then they like sit still, and they're like, "Why did you say that?" You can actually do that with LLMs.
Yes. Let's go to GLaDOS. Can you lower my standing desk, please?
The desk is now in a sitting position. Enjoy your newly acquired comfort as you contemplate the meaning of life from this lower vantage point.
Yeah. So being able to do more than what is available by default is available to the user. Is it going to rain tomorrow? This is not possible. Sorry, I hope it's going to work. If it works, it's going to be perfect for the yes. So this is me creating a tool that says like, hey, if you want to fetch the weather, that's the service you call, and that's how you get the answer, and this is how you display. it.
Yeah.
I have other ones like I don't remember what I have, like meetings tomorrow. Like do I have meetings tomorrow? I think I have created the tool that fetch my professional calendars. So extending the functionality of a tool is pretty easy. Madalena tomorrow 1-to-1. So this is like this is actually easy to do, and it's basically just doing a script.
Can I take a look at what the script looks like again for, like, say, the calendar?
For the weather forecast?
Yeah, weather
And
forecast probably easiest.
yes and no, because for the weather forecast, I did not transform them yet. They are still intent scripts, so they will be in YAML. Even if technically nothing differs. It's just that I don't have the UI for that. I can show it to you, but I just don't have the UI for that.
Yeah.
Oh,
No,
still.
but I mean the standing desk one. The main important one is that you click edit fields, right?
Yeah. So I mean,
add fields to describe the actions.
Yeah, so like in the target position, I have like a description that is like a position of the standing desk, seated or standing. I have a selector with like 2 values, sitting or standing, just to be able to build that basically. Yeah? And in
Wow,
fact,
so we understand it's French, and it even though you talk.
Yeah.
So that's the power of the LLM, right? For example, I don't need to create a lot of aliases. I can say like turn off, like since the beginning, like turn off my office lights. I have nothing called office in my home.
Oh.
Like my rooms are not called office.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
Yes, I will talk about the limitation of LLMs afterwards. I do have a few stories that I think are interesting. But before that, how do we evaluate them? All right, so what we do is we have found a way to run every model in the exact same conditions. So we create synthetic OMs, more or less like smart OMs, fake OMs, and then we ask the same questions to every agent. Turn off that light, open that cover, and so on and so forth. And we see which one are performing the best. We have 2 main data sets, I would say. You can see 3 columns there, but one is a subset of another one. There is 2 data sets. And they are interesting because they show you the limitation of LLMs right now. The first one that I want to focus on is intents. Intents is a subset of the very tests that are being used to test our intent. So it's the sentences that are working with the homemade non-LLM way of conversing with your home. And this is interesting because you can see that I expect LLMs to excel there and then surpass them afterwards, but they don't. So if you go to the intent, the assistant, so our own assistant, is obviously performing 100% because that's its goal, right? It is their own test.
Can you make the picture a little bigger by
Yes.
pressing on the arrow button?
Make it bigger.
But you can see that all the other LLMs are around 80%, so they have even less actually. They are falling behind, and this is because we are taking decisions, right? For example, when we say turn off the lights, we took a decision that says, when we say that, it's the area. We are targeting the area. We are not targeting the house. And then the LLMs are taking other decisions because we didn't train them, right? It is not our LLM. So when we ask an LLM turn off the lights, some of them are turning off the area lights, some of them are turning on every light in your house. So
we do have to say that we do tune the prompt, right? So we will look at these kind of results and we look at the data that we send to the LLM.
Yes, the fact that it's repeatable allows us to tune the prompt. Is YAML better than CSV to transfer the data? Is this important? Is this important, etc. So we can tune the prompt because you can rerun them as always. So that's one side of the story. And personally, I expect all of the LLMs to perform 100% before saying that it's not an experiment anymore, because that should be the base, right? The base should be that LLMs, which is the brain of like hundreds of billions of parameters, should be at least better than our sentences that runs on a Raspberry Pi 4. The other side of the story is it's a different side of the story. It's more complex sentences.
These are extremely complex, right?
Yes, more complex sentences that have been created to emulate a more natural way of talking. For example, you have a valve in your garden. You can say, turn on the garden valve. Nobody says that. People say, water my plants. And so in this dataset, we have a sentence, water my plants. And assist fails, of course. But this is where the LLMs are excelling. So we are about 90, sometimes even more % of completion in the LLMs in these more complex sentences that humans usually say. Yeah. So it's a balance, basically. You have to pick if it's good for you or not. So just to give you an example, LLMs, I'm going to go to the outside. This is my valve for the outside.
Well, we don't see your screen, JLo.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Yes, of course. My screen. Where is my screen? Yeah. No. Where's my screen? Sorry.
Who did that?
Who did that? Yes. Where is okay? Outside. That's my irrigation valve. And if I say to Claude, can you water my plants? Then he's going to try to find what is the best thing to do, and he turned on the irrigation system. Did he? Actually, I didn't see if he did. Sorry.
It said it did, but
yeah. Yeah, but it's a bit slow. Mine. Wait, can you water my plants? Unfortunately enough, okay, let's just show. I just want to make a point, so I'm just going to read one that I know better, which is ChatGPT.
Uh-oh.
It's not that natural, but it's kind of okay, you know. Like I mean, I started by saying like, "What are my plants?" and there is nothing called plants in Home Assistant.
Yeah.
And now, like, so I mean, yeah. So we are evaluating them, and this is the results, more or less.
Yeah.
The results are this one.
So JLo, I want to speed up a little because otherwise we're going to do a whole deep dive into LLM.
Yeah.
I want to. The cool thing is here, Claude is in, and Claude is scoring extremely well.
Yes.
Right? They are among the top of the best performing LLMs. They are all the best performing LLMs are the cloud-based ones. Although, if you look, can you show us the graph of the Assist Mini?
Yes.
Assist Mini is a more tailored, balanced benchmark that we developed, which shows over 80% for local. So the right side of the chart is the local ones, Llama, XLAM. Those are doing pretty well, but you can see that the online ones are doing even better.
And the Mini has been created with like a very small context window, etc., a few entities, etc. If you go into the real life, it's more balanced for now. Yeah. Yes.
So we're super stoked. And the cheap Claude model, Haiku actually did very well, and so we've decided to make that the default.
Yeah, and it's cheap. It's very cheap.
Yeah. So maybe can you elaborate on cheap? Like I would say it's less than 1 cent per run, right?
Yes. Actually, I think I can safely share the cost that I've been. So I've been testing a lot on Haiku, and for now it has costed me 17 cents, about 8 cents per day, which I'm heavily testing. Just to give you a funny comparison, I made one command to the big one. One command, which was turn off my office light. One command, 19 cents.
Oh man.
Yes. So I mean, it's cheap. Like I've been running. I tried to run my whole house on LLMs for a few months, and it was about less than 10 cents a day.
Yeah.
Sometimes I was testing more, and it was 10 cents a day. So more like 7 cents a day. Yeah. That's more or less what I've been having for.
In our data set, do we have any local options? So like if I don't want to depend on the cloud and use Ollama, how do they fare compared to the GPT?
They fall short when you have big context. Yeah. But they are there.
There. So it's on the right side, right? The orange, the blue one, the green one. Yeah. We did increase in this release the context window for Ollama, which means that the local models, we saw a 20% improvement in Llama 3.1 with this change. So that's very nice. And it shows another example of how we're just constantly iterating on making the performance better for all the different types of models. Yeah. I want to do a huge shout out to Shilyaka for adding Anthropic, and for Alan for always being for developing the benchmarks and always running it against all the different LLMs to make sure we have the latest data.
So, JLo, like for as of this moment, which LLM would you recommend the most for Home Assistant?
So to be honest, none of them. I can explain why actually. So the LLM experience is very funny. It's like the perfect Pareto. It's like 80% where it's blowing your mind because you are asking very complex sentence, you speak very naturally and it works. And the 20% makes you feel very bad because it does things that you don't want. Sorry, just one small clarification. You still control what you expose, right? So it's not going to start doing things that I don't want, but it does things that are not expected. And it's my house. I want to feel well on it. And so I would recommend to experiment with a lot. But I would still recommend that if you have voice assistant in every room like me, that you don't use them, or you use them like scarcely. And I do have a few examples of things that were very bad and that made me go back to like a standard intent process for now, at least. One of them, I would just say one of them because I think it's interesting also for what could be the future of LLMs. In French, the word for turn off, which is éteint, is extremely close to the word for expand, which is éteint. I was putting my daughter to sleep. She has a smart speaker in her room, and I said, turn off the speaker. And it understood expand the speaker, which means nothing, right? Expand the speaker means nothing. Something that you have to know is that the LLMs are extremely friendly, and they try their best to fulfill what you are asking them. And where it becomes dangerous is when you are asking them things that makes no sense. Because instead of telling them this makes no sense, they will try very hard to find something that, kind of fits what you are trying to do. So I'm in my daughter's bedroom. She's sleeping. I'm trying to turn off the speakers. No, actually, no. I close the door. I go to downstairs and I say, turn off the speaker in my daughter's bedroom. And it understands expand the speaker in my daughter's bedroom, which means nothing. And so the LLMs go through all the tools and find something that fits, I don't know, like 20%, which is putting the volume to the max.
So that's how GLaDOS murders you.
I was like, so these kind of things make you feel very bad. So as an experiment platform, it's amazing, right? When you have to put back your daughter to sleep for the second time because she has a Sonos speaker in her room at 100%, it's very bad, right? So for production use case, it's very bad. Yeah. But yeah.
I had it also once. It understood the word free because there's like a false positive on the wake word, and it also turned on my lights and unpaused my music just based on the word.
Also like false positive and very short sentences afterwards. So sometimes one day I had a false positive and I tried to not speak and it understood one word, which was out. And so it basically said like, oh, out, I'm going to turn off everything. And these kind of small things are like really like make or break experience.
Yeah. Welcome to the future.
Is there anything the community can help with to make this more accurate and more dependable?
Yeah, so I mean, this is to help make this better. It's a technical thing, right? Like you have to understand Python. You have to understand how Home Assistant calls these LLMs. Like you don't have to write it, we've written it, but you have to tweak it, right? Like change how the prompt is generated, change kind of data that's being sent over, how the tools are exposed. But if you're into that kind of stuff, I mean, it's obviously all open source, and we would love for more people to experiment with this. One of the things we see coming up again and again and again is that people want us to allow OpenAI integration to be pointed at any API endpoint because they want to experiment with other LLMs that are not OpenAI but that have mimicked the API. And that's something that we don't do. And the reason we don't do it is because OpenAI, our OpenAI integration is meant for OpenAI, and that their API is not standardized. So they have a new assistant API that we want to migrate to. If we were to allow anyone to set a URL endpoint on our OpenAI integration, it means that we can never use a modern API anymore, because it always has to work with every endpoint the user might put in, which might be very old systems. So we don't personally support that. I know there are custom components that are copying our OpenAI. They're available through HACS. You can actually configure the endpoint there. So that's my recommendation. If you want to experiment with those kind of LLMs, if you do, go run our benchmark. There's some extensive instructions Alan wrote up on how to do it, so you can actually compare. For example, there were like some efforts to create something called Home LLM. Those efforts have stalled now, sadly, but we ran them through the benchmark, because that's the only way we can compare. Does this LLM perform better than, for example, the new Llama 3.1 or the XLM 7 billion? So yeah, if you want to help improve LLMs, it's a technical endeavor, but we would love more help.
Yeah. And just to conclude on this, I picked this example of like misunderstanding a word as on purpose. Today, there is something in between your voice and the LLM, which is called a pipeline. And I'm very optimistic for the future. I want to see how this works when something else happens, which I'm going to explain. So what happens today is that you talk, right? And there is a process that is there to transform your voice into text. And then the LLM gets text. And that's it, just text. And I mean, it's common knowledge to know that when you communicate, there is like a big part of the communication that is nonverbal. There is a big part that we miss just if we have sound, right? Like you see me talk, you see me move my hands. And then you have also the voice itself, right? The power, the punctuation, the pace, etc. All of these things is lost because what the LM gets is just text, right? So are you rushed? Are you happy? Are you... nobody knows that. And so if you look at the last demo, like the cutting edge demo of LLMs, you will see that now LLMs are what they call multimodal. So they don't take text in input, they take everything in input, audio, video, text. And they output anything in output also, audio, video, text. Yeah. So we could think a future where the LLM actually processes your voice and does command and reply with your voice. So you will be able to say to LLMs like, can you speak like louder, or can you actually make your voice like GLaDOS? And I think that this small change, being able to have like the whole voice, is going to help with all of this false positive about small words, etc., because they will get so much more context than what they have today.
So that's definitely something that we're going to add to Home Assistant, but we don't have today. The good news, just to wrap all of this up, is that the voice hardware that we have, and we talked about in the beginning of the stream, that we are working on, it will work with our built-in local intent system that runs super fast. It will also work with LLMs. It will work with all the different speech-to-text, text-to-speech engines. You want to talk to GLaDOS, it will be possible with our new hardware. So definitely keep an eye out on that if you are interested in that. And then I want to just answer this final question, and then we're really going to wrap up LLMs, because we got to talk about other stuff, of course. There's a lot in the Home Assistant world. But Dave is asking if there are any tips on fine-tuning local models for Home Assistant. Alan has been trying out to fine-tune Llama 3.1 into like being better at home automation tasks. It's called Assist LLM. It's on his GitHub repository. It's the same author as create the benchmarks. The benchmarks are also linked in the release notes, so it should be easy tracking down. Assist LLM is, although it's not performing that much better. So it's okay that we're fine-tuning it, but like you can learn from it. But this is not you're not going to get a 10% improvement. It's more like 1, maybe 2% or something, which on 80% it's okay. It's better, of course, but it's not the best.
All right, I will stop talking about AI.
Yeah. Good, because
I love it. Thank
back
you.
to the release notes.
Yeah. there we are. Oh, sorry.
Oh.
Which it's good.
Yeah.
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 Open source compliance. God, where's
Oh.
my glasses and my
Oh, yeah, okay, make it bigger, sure.
now,
Sure.
so we have audited all the licenses of all the dependencies that Home Assistant relies on, and we have 2,800 different integrations. So these were a lot of dependencies, and we have made sure that every license that's being used is an open source initiative approved license. This means that it conforms to the terms of what open source means. It means that we are free to distribute it. It means that we are free to use it. It means that you are free to use it when we have distributed and given it to you. And so we have made sure that everything is compliant. It meant that sometimes we had to work with maintainers that had forgotten the license. Some had like typos, so the license wasn't being identified correctly. Some integrations with like very low usage numbers we had to disable because the person that created the integration didn't attach a license. We could no longer get in touch. So yeah, we disabled it. Of course, if the license is correctly added and we know the future of it, it means that like we can add that integration back. It was a lot of work. It's done now. It's really good. So it will not change nothing for you as end user. Just the fact that you know that Home Assistant and its dependencies are all truly open source. Yeah.
Cool. That's amazing. That's a lot of work, right? To go through every integration, all the libraries, just to check the licenses. In the end, like what integration that needs to be made compliant, and we had to remove.
Yeah, I don't know the names from the top of my head because they were so unpopular that like the name doesn't even ring a bell. But the importance of open source licenses is that if the original author is no longer interested in maintaining it, we can, the community can pick it up. We can make changes. We can keep the project alive by creating a fork, for example. And if there's no open source license attached to a piece of source code, legally, you're not allowed to make a fork. Like legally, you're not even allowed to make a copy because it's the copyright of that author and you don't have the right to redistribute it. So open source licenses are important. And this means that every integration today, even if it would get abandoned, someone else can pick it up and build it out further. Yeah.
Ooh, that's awesome. Thank you. I mean, Joost did a lot of work on this, right?
Yes, Joost has been driving this effort.
I think what's next is new integrations. Let's see. In case you don't realize, if you go to the integration section in Home Assistant, right, you go to integrations.
On our website, right?
On our website, there's actually a feature that you can view what's new by release, and you can actually see it by this month. These are the new integrations. It looks awesome, and that's last month and this month.
Yeah.
So what's new this month?
Yeah, so I think there's a few that are worth calling out. Of course, Entropic we already discussed. The Yale integration was added by Bidraco, and this integration is using a new API, which is good because the old API was getting shut down because the Home Assistant was using too many API calls. But it's actually more like a corporate restructuring that is causing our integration to restructure. So Yale is a big lock manufacturer. They had acquired August like 10 years ago or whatever, something like this. And through some miracle of finance bros, they've decided to spin off their North America ventures into a new company. I think it's called Fortune Brands. Fortune Brands is still allowed to use the Yale and August logos, just to make it a little bit more confusing, but it's no longer the same company as the non-American version. And so the non-American version, they saw a big amount of spikes from the API usage from Home Assistant. We had actually lowered our API usage, like made it like less aggressive in polling. That meant, of course, that users didn't get the latest information. Now, what happened? This is kind of, some Home Assistant users realized that if they reload the config entry for their Yale non-America integration, it would pull the latest values. So they actually started to reload their integration all the time, like every second, so they would get the latest data. By doing so, they were actually DDoSing Yale. And so Yale was not so happy, and they had kicked us out. They had closed down our API key. But luckily, we were already talking with them about the new API. So now we've updated the new API, which streams, we get everything, the latest updates. So thank you, B. Draco, for spearheading this effort, because it means that everyone using Yale logs outside of America can now continue to do so in this release. Yeah, that was the story of Yale. We have some more integrations. Yeah, nice go. The garage door opener, SM Light.
Yeah, SM Light.
Yeah, the SM Light, I have some of them, and basically it's a device that you can use. You can power it by Ethernet on PoE or by USB, and it can act as a ZigBee coordinator, ZigBee repeater, or a thread border router. You have to choose what you want. And I think it can also be a Bluetooth proxy if you flash ESP on it. It's a very versatile device. I have one, yeah.
Nice.
And basically, I have some of them in my house as a ZigBee router, but yeah.
So for the router on ZigBee, sorry, let's start by for the coordinator. I think it's super nice because you can basically offset your coordinator.
Yeah, you don't have to put your coordinator in your garage, for example.
Yeah, exactly. So like you can have like your network cabinet on your garage and then your coordinator in the middle of your living room, which is very close to what Matter and Fred is doing. But then for the router themselves, what's the advantages of doing that instead of just buying a plug? Like
it's the same. It's you have a big antenna, so it's better. In my house, I have many battery ZigBee device, and I have all my other wire device are Z-Wave, so they cannot act as a ZigBee.
I have them. So, yeah, okay.
Yeah, but if you have many plugs, I don't think it can be useful. And the integration is not to use the device. You don't have to install the integration to use the device. It's to manage the device. Like you can see the temperature of the chip, or you can restart it. You can pass it to router mode or something like that.
Yeah, because to use it's the DHA more or less. That's it.
Yeah, exactly. For this release, I think it's only sensor, but I think we will have a button or switches in next release for this integration.
Do you have an example of what a device looked like that is added through the SLZB?
I mean, you mean just the ZigBee device, or you mean the actual SLZB itself?
Like the ZigBee, like the ZigBee device through.
Oh, but it just uses our ZigBee integration. So just
okay, right? That's amazing. Oh.
It uses all our normal integrations. It's just forwarding the serial protocol.
It's a very smart thing actually. Just to be able to say like my coordinator is in the middle of my living room, but my yellow or my green is not.
And I think the 06M is using the same chip as the ZBT1 we have. So basically, if you want to migrate from Sky Connect or ZBT1 to this one, it's very easy. It's the same chip.
ZBT1 is still the best, right?
Yeah. But if you want to put the coordinator in your living room, for example, yeah.
So what? 15 meter USB cable and that's it.
So you don't have interference with USB.
No, you have nothing.
Perfect.
That's nice.
Ooh.
Good. Other integrations that were added as a Fujitsu, is it an
Fujitsu?
Yeah. Fujitsu. Yeah, cool, I guess. Art Sound is a new virtual integration. It's actually using the LinkPlay integration added in the last release, which is cool. LinkPlay allows their modules to be sold to other speaker manufacturers to put into the speakers. So This is one of the companies that was using it, and this is also the company that have actually paid for the integration to be built. So it's very nice. They clearly want to be part of the Home Assistant ecosystem. So it's good to see. Yeah, and the last one is it Root or Roth?
Roth.
Not sure. what it is.
Underfloor heating system, which is
Oh,
the
yeah.
best kind of heating for the house. It makes your house feel warm and cozy because the heat just radiant off the floor, right?
True. But yeah, you have
Also
to.
expensive.
That's not an aftermarket install.
Yeah. Expensive.
But it's cool. It's cool. It's part of Home Assistant now.
Well, this cool, like expensive stuff can be controlled by Home Assistant too.
Yeah. Good. Let's look at the noteworthy changes. Can you scroll a little bit up? Oh yeah. So no, lower.
So it's actually my screen. I forgot that it was my
Oh.
screen.
Yeah.
Breaking changes you want?
No,
Yeah.
the noteworthy. We haven't gone through the noteworthy yet.
Sorry, my bad.
So you can now, when the MQTT one is very nice. Jan added the option when you add the MQTT integration, it will install the MQTT add-on for you. Ironically, we always do the opposite. If you had the MQTT add-on installed, it would prompt you to get the integration going. But now this works this way, so it's very nice. The event entities for the Nest integration are also very nice. You can now see clearly which events are fired. Work with that. The Shelly one also, I mean, these are all nice. It's almost like we're looking at the noteworthy section. But the Shelly battery devices are also now very nice too, without having to configure exactly. It just works. Yeah, air gradient can be updated. Love to see more integration, add updates, making it super easy for anyone.
Should we
Updates
talk
from
about?
Home Assistant.
Should we talk about what is air gradient for the one that don't know?
Yeah, we can do it.
Please do, because I'm not sure
Oh, you want
about.
me to go?
No. It's just that I have one thing that I don't know, and I don't want to say a mistake.
Air gradient is an open source air quality monitor. You can build it yourself. You can buy a kit. You can buy an assembled kit. It has very high quality air monitoring capabilities, so it performs very well. It's also used by a lot of universities, and they are they've been building their own integration into Home Assistant. So it's all gives you a lot of information about a lot of different parts of your house. And it gives you real-time information. It has indoor, it has outdoor monitors, and it's a cool system. It's based in Thailand, actually, which I think is also really cool. So it's a Thai company, and they've been doing a good job, and their integration is slowly expanding.
Oh. Great.
Yes. That's all right.
Yeah. That's
Should we
good.
Yeah.
Should we keep scrolling?
Oh yeah, we have a template helper. You can add number template helper from the UI.
Nice.
A number template helper? What is this?
Do it. Do a live demo.
Yes, live demo.
Yeah,
like
do it.
what?
We have
I don't know.
6 more minutes. Let's do a helper demo.
Oh, wait, I went too fast. Sorry. Device and services.
Yeah.
Helpers. So helpers are nice, but I'm addicted to helpers. I have way too many helpers. I have like 145 helpers. That's way too many. Helpers are great because you can use them for many things. What I like to do is when I have complex logic inside my automation, I usually create a template, a sensor. I create an helper so that I can reuse it. So you have helpers for a lot of things like the state of my car and things, and I have small templates inside of them. That's pretty cool. I have way too many templates. So template number. That's the new thing.
Template, yeah.
All right.
So basically, it's an input number, but you can template the min, the max, the step, and you can also add action when you set values.
So I want to make some funny thing now. So I want a.
Wait, before you click on something, this is really cool. I don't know if people know, but we have a template editor built into the user interface with autocomplete. So it will autocomplete your entities and you can see the state. So it'll make it very nice to...
Yeah, I can show you that actually. So for example, I wanted to find a temperature. I don't know any name of my temperature. So I just .sensor.temperature. I have all of them. And there is even the state there. So let's find the temperature of the outside. So no, wait. The minimum is going to be 0. The maximum is going to be the state of outside. Why does it not work?
I don't know.
Demo time.
No, but that state, like you have to...
Oh, it's because
the state template.
The state return a string, you have to parse it into a float or int.
What state template? I actually don't know how this works.
Put in 5. Ta-da.
Be a pipe and then it floats.
Yeah. Wait, not float actually.
No.
No, you don't have to convert to integers. Because the maximum is not a number, right? Like that's a state object you're getting back. Oh no, is it a state?
No.
Oh yeah.
Well, okay, good.
Okay, good demo.
Good demo.
We'll figure this one out in the next episode.
There's a demo time banner. There's a disclaimer.
Actually, you know what? It worked. No, it didn't work. Right. Okay. Cool. Good demo. Map. Okay. Delete.
Yeah.
Cannot even delete it. That's nice.
All right.
Good. Nice. Yeah. So that's it for the release. It was not the biggest release, but it's still a good release. Lots of fixes. And yeah, we're full steam ahead for the rest of the year.
Yep.
We're going to get you better dashboards, better voice, better LLMs, better automations.
More works with Home Assistant devices.
More works with Home Assistant, better Matter. There's some cool Matter news on the horizon.
Thread 1.4.
Cool stuff coming.
Yeah, Thread 1.4. Probably we should just got released today, and we should, once it's we should be able to ship that soon, hopefully.
Well, last but not the least, right? The reminder in 2 weeks on Tuesday, September 17th, there will be a stream for the Home Assistant Project 11th birthday.
Yeah.
The celebration of our community.
Yeah.
So definitely stay tuned. We'll announce.
We didn't bring pie, so we all have a piece of pie.
And lastly, have you pressed the like button on this?
Oh yeah, like and subscribe.
Yeah, press the button.
Yeah,
press the button. The button is very cool to press on. The finger, thumbs up.
No, if you're still watching, you should. You haven't liked, you should definitely like, because if you if you could do 2 hours of us, then you definitely want more of us.
Well, maybe they don't have energy to move the mouse click anymore.
No, that's true. That's true. Yeah. So just to finally wrap up, of course, if you like what we're doing, if you want to support our work, please subscribe to Home Assistant Cloud by Nabukaza. It pays all our salaries. It allows us to do this full time, making Home Assistant the best smart home platform for everyone. And we give it away for free for everyone, but it doesn't mean that we don't need to eat. We actually do need to eat. So please support us if you can. And thanks everyone for watching. And then we'll see everybody in 2 weeks for our birthday stream.
Cool. I'm gonna play the ending bumper now.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.